everyone. What's going on, Eric, Marcella? How y'all doing today?
Hello,
Hi, good
hello.
evening. We're doing fine. And you?
Doing great. So,
Wonderful.
today's topic we're going to be talking about is self-care. Self-care in 2023. So, starting with the two of you, what does self-care mean to you?
What self care means to me is basically what it says, self care. But it also means to me that you're making sure that you are mentally, emotionally, physically okay before you can even think about trying to take care of someone else or even give anybody advice. So self care for me is making sure I'm good and making sure I'm taken care of.
Self care, making sure that I'm able to carry on. So in saying that, I got to make sure everything is set up in place. So I'm good, because if I'm not good, then she's not good, and my grandbaby's not good. So whatever that has to be, whether it's mental, emotional, or physical. I got to make sure I'm good, because if I'm not good, they're not good. Contrary to popular belief, you can't give your all to somebody else if you're not good. That's a farce. That's a lie. That's an outright lie. So self care to me means taking care of myself, whatever I have to do, so I'm able to give that care to the ones that mean the most to me.
Okay.
Okay, Mario.
Hi, Dwayne. Hey, CC, Dr. CC, how y'all doing? Got two people that just were saying hello to us.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, CC. Hey, Pastor CC. Who's the other person?
Dwayne
Dwayne.
Williams.
Hey,
Williams.
Dwayne. How are you?
Well, self-care, to me, self-care is just knowing your limitations, knowing
Yes.
when to say no, knowing when to take that moment to take time out for yourself. It's pretty much like the key word self is to be selfish. It comes a point in time where you have to be selfish, and you
Mm-hmm.
got to know when to say no. You got to know when too much is too. I mean, you can't tickle anymore, and you got to know when to walk away from things. So
Yes.
self-care can mean a lot of different things. I mean, but to me, what I've learned is um, we got a cat. Um, I got it. The self care. So pretty much the key thing about it is knowing when, um, just knowing when to walk away from a situation and knowing your limitations.
Also, too, Mario, if I may, it's also what it means to me. I just came up, it's evaluation as well. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when we're doing self care, we have to evaluate our surroundings. We have to evaluate people that's in our circle. And sometimes, whenever you see that when you give so much and you're not giving it back, when you're not getting it back, sometimes that puts you in a state because it's like sometimes we worry more about that person than they worry about their own selves. And so whenever we do self-care, it's like with me, I changed so much since I broke my leg, and I had so much time to reflect, and I had so I, and that's when self-care kicked in. And I realized that, a lot of times when you go through things, people, it sounds good to say, if you need me, I'll be there. You know what I'm saying? But a
Right.
lot of times a lot of times whenever you have time on your hands and it's things that you need to do for yourself, it makes you see the whole picture. It makes you see that everything that you might have not seen before clear. It makes you realize that, okay, you know what? So now I really have to move differently. I have to put me first. I have to be selfish. I have to evaluate certain situations in order to make sure that I'm good. So I'm not saying I'm glad that, I broke my leg, but I'm telling you, it gave me time to evaluate. It gave me time to be a little selfish. It gave me time to be able to say no because I was always a yes person. Anytime somebody needed Marcella, Marcella was always there. And I was realizing that I wasn't taking care of myself because I was making sure everybody else was good. So, like I said, now I'm in a place to where it's okay for me to say no. and not say anything else behind it, because no is a complete sentence. You understand what I'm saying? So I truly can say that I have really been taking care of myself. And now I know from this day forward what it is that I need to do in order to become even better than what I was before I even broke my leg.
That, I mean, and sometimes it takes something to happen
Mm-hmm.
for us to find that balance, to kind of find that balance to make sure we're not putting ourselves in a bad situation, because some people will break their leg and still try to keep up with what they were doing before. So
Yes.
you have to evaluate the situation and then go back and do what's necessary and what's best for
Yes.
you to, cause like it's just like medical situation, like limitations, knowing your physical and mental limitations, to where you don't put yourself in a situation where you kind of like you pretty much kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? You kind of like bite off more than you can chew.
Yes. Yes. Because like whenever I was going through my ortho, and I every month that I had to go see my doctor, I had to get an X-ray each time so they can know where I was at as far as my leg. And so my one doctor told me that he was like, around about May 15th ish, you'll be able to go back and get back on your skates, right? And I was like, okay, because it's like I miss that, and I miss my skate family. But then I started thinking like, and I'm like, having self-care, I was like, my leg was not even, I realized that my leg was not strong enough. I said, well, you know what? I'm not ready to go back. And so when I went to my last ortho, when they relieved me, I was telling my doctor that, because he asked me, he was like, well, when do you want to go back? And I said, well, you know what? I said, I think probably around about the first week of July. I said, because I still need to go through the physical therapy, and I'm just not ready yet. You understand what I'm saying? So I realized that was the self-care with me, because even though my doctor was like, well, you know what, maybe around the middle of May. And then when I told him, I was like, well, you know what? I know that my leg is getting better. I know it's stronger than what it was, but I realized that it's not time right now for me to go back out there and put my skates on. So that's self-care for me, to know that don't put yourself out there too fast whenever you know that something else can happen. So I'm taking care of myself now. And like I said, I miss everybody, and I know that a lot of them asking about me too, but I have to make sure that I'm truly ready to come back out there and put those skates on.
Okay. Well,
So
I know one of the biggest things that we can see in today's society, in today's world, is people is not taking time to do a mental
Mm-hmm.
evaluation of
oh
themselves.
wow,
And
yes.
that is I think, to me, physical is, trust me, your body's gonna let you know.
Oh,
Um,
most definitely.
Mental is not one of those things. It's kind of like it's completely different. And I think that's the biggest problem in today's society is people are not taking that time to do self-care to get their mental stability in order, or focus in the right direction.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think that is Mario. That is so true, because you know what? Because I think that number one, I think that a lot of times we don't do self care is because the fact that we sometimes normalize bad behavior. And what I mean by that is like even holding on to people that you have realized that sometimes you treat you as an option. You know what I'm saying? And it's like when your mental state, when your mental state is just like it's gone and stuff like that, you can't be no good for nobody else. And we do have, and people say when you say mental health, we have to realize that every person that's living on this earth has mental health. You understand what I'm saying? It's just based on, where you at with your mental
Mhm.
health, because they think mental health is a bad thing. Mental health is not a bad thing. We really have to take care of our mental health. And so, like I said again, I'm telling you, this break, being at home and not being able to really do much when I was stationary, I've really had to work on my mental health, because it was some points that when I was sitting in that room and I couldn't walk, I'm telling you, I had a breakdown. You know what I'm saying? I had a breakdown. And so just talking to my husband and stuff like that, he's like, well, babe, he's like, you can't do nothing. So like, you just got to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? And just
Mhm.
putting it to me like that, I was like, okay, well, am I going to take that in a way to where defensive, or is it real? Is it real? Is it real? And I realized it was real because I couldn't do anything.
Mm.
And it wasn't so much of him making me feel some type of way. It was the fact that Mario, you know, all those that know me, I can't sit down, and I'm used to just doing things for myself. And so when I had to depend on someone else, that worked on my mental. You understand what I'm saying? It worked on my mental, but I'm telling you, I came out a better person, and that helped me to also, you know, that's where that self-care came in at. I was like, you know what? Maybe I also needed that because I'm so used to doing stuff for everybody and waiting on everybody. So I had my moments with my mental health, but I tell you what, being in that state, it really made me think about things, and I had to get my mental thoughts and my mental health in perspective, and I did. So I think it was a blessing too. It's like, you know, I waited till I'm in my 50s to break a leg, but you know, hey, I tell you what, when I do come out and I do go back out and like I said, be around people and be around and put on my skates and stuff like that, I'm in a totally better place. I truly am. So we always have to work on our mental health every day. Every day.
Eric, what's your thoughts on that?
I always listen to what people say, and everybody keeps saying, I make sure this person is good. I make sure that person good. I make sure they're good. But are you ensuring that you're able to make sure that they're good? So that making sure is them. Ensuring is you. You have to ensure that you're capable of doing so. And if you can barely walk, you're gonna have to tell somebody no. See, you have to say no, but you also have to mean it. Don't say no and then, well, I have been doing it all this time. Yes, you have been doing it all this time, but you can't right now. So in order to make sure somebody's good, you have to ensure that you're good. Because if you don't, then you're not doing anybody no justice. The person you're trying to make sure good and yourself. You have to always at every point ensure that you're good. You have to be good first. I want everybody to hear me. You have to be good first. Because you're no good to the world if you're not good. Period. Make sure you're good, and then you can go out there and do good for others.
Absolutely.
Tisha, the question was that Mario was asking was how important is your mental health when it comes to self-care?
Well, that's the most valuable thing, right? So what I learned was that your gut health and your mental health are controlled together. And so part of my self-care is making sure I'm more mindful and knowledgeable about what I'm putting in my body too, as far as what I'm eating. And you know, not to get TMI on here with the men, but once you hit 40 as women, you kind of go through the hormonal changes. And so when you're in peri or premenopause, you have to be very careful about what you're eating, how active you are, because that can affect your self-care, which can affect your mental health. Because it's almost like you're going through some months where you feel pregnant, some months you feel crazy, some months you're getting on your own nerves. So, you know, you got to be able to control those hormones, or if you got a man, you want to try to keep him. If you're trying to get one, you want to get one, basically. But I think that's something we need to talk about because I'm starting to onboard some male clients now, and they're starting to explain to me when they hit 40, they're experiencing the same challenges, and it's affecting their mental health as well. So that was a great question because self-care, self-care, it ages age.
Yeah,
right.
So for us, it's middle age. For y'all, it's menopause. For us, we go through menopause too. It's called middle age.
Right, but like we're saying, most people don't realize that middle age or that menopause affects your mental health, which affects which you have to improve your self-care differently at this age than what you did in your 20s and your 30s. You got to find the right foods to eat, the right snacks to snack on. Like it's almost like starting over where you're learning everything, even in your body over again. So I totally think that if you're not self-caring, it's easy to fall into depression.
Mhm.
And not only that, it's easy to fall into abusive relationships and friendships too. All the ships. Look,
Yeah.
all the
All
ships.
of them. Yeah.
All them ships.
That is so true. That is
Did
so
I
true.
answer? What was I? Was that what
Mhm.
we were? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And speaking of something you said, yeah, sometimes you do get on your own nerves, and that plays a part of it too, because you can't move like you used to.
Mm-mm.
You wake up one day and you can't just hop up out of bed. You better sit up.
Stretch.
You better place your legs gently, and you get up and you
You better
start your
rock.
day. And you like you in the middle of doing something, and you realize you can't do it like you used to. But that doesn't make you a bad person. That just make you age.
Mhm.
And that's part of that self-care, to know that, hey, I just don't move the way I used to. You know, I just can't run as fast as I used to. I can't fix a car as quick as I used to. But you need to understand that that comes with the territory.
Absolutely.
And real quick, and self-care also comes with, me and Tisha, we talk almost every day. You know, self-care also is realizing the difference between personality and character, right? Based on the people that are around you and stuff like that. And you have to see that, because a lot of times we, like I said earlier before you came on, Tisha, I said we normalize different type of relationships when it comes to bad behavior, because we feel like, because Mario, we was talking earlier, and I learned like a lot of times we hold on to certain things because of their personality, right? And we never knew that, we never understood that the personality and the character of that person had to be, it had to be separated. You understand what I'm saying? And so that's why a lot of times when it came to self-care, it's like we felt like, because we had a rapport with this person for so long, and this is my friend, or even family members, or whatever the case may be, we was dealing mostly with their personality, and we forgot, and we felt like we had to hold on to certain relationships or all type of ships, because of the fact that we was dealing with, you know, probably we felt like some normalizing bad behavior. Also, you know, we felt like, you know, we was obligated, you know, we felt like, and that comes with lack of self-care, because when you take care of yourself, you're not going to allow different things and different people in your life to treat you certain type of ways and hold on to that. You see what I'm saying? So now that I'm self-caring, now that I self-care, I look at things differently now. And it's like, it's not that I'm kind of like just walking away from a lot of people, but it's just that what I'm seeing that's in front of me that is not good for my mental health, I have to just leave that alone. That's just where I am for real today.
And that's another mistake we make. We say, I don't mean to walk away from people. Yeah, that's what comes with it. As your societal status change, as your money bracket change, as whatever changes, sometimes the friends that you hang around with have to change.
Your mental health changes.
Because
Your
everybody ain't for you.
no.
Or everybody ain't on your level. It doesn't mean that you love them any less. It doesn't mean that you care not to talk to them anymore. It's just we moving in different directions. And sometimes it takes for you to walk away. We have to, when you are dealing with self-care, that's exactly what it means. You keep moving. So why this person pulling you back, you got to snatch away from, keep on going. Hey, it's nothing personal, it's just business. That's the way it is. If in order to keep your mental health stable, you have to do whatever it is you have to do to stay available for those that are available for you. You have to. It's not fair to this person that got your back for you to fall in line with somebody who don't care about neither one of y'all. That's not fair.
Yeah.
That's not fair. So you cling to that person that's available and that's there, that's been there for you, that will always be there for you. So okay, so maybe I need to change my friends. Maybe I need to change my lifestyle. And hanging around like-minded people will get you that way. See, we're fortunate to have you because you do fitness and nutrition. So you can help us on our journey. Keep, hey, what is that? You know, fried chicken sandwich? No, you know, go put away. You know, you don't need that. All right, cool, got you. That's what you have. Or self-care is also knowing when to say when. Okay, I need help.
Because you gotta have positive self-talk to yourself in order to
Yes.
get to the positive self-care. Because
Yeah.
I realized that I was taking care, I had adjusted what I was eating, I was more active, but my self-talk was still negative. I still was beating myself up for having to walk away from people, second guessing myself for not feeling like I fit in the environments I fit in before. And that's a part of that growth that happens, and you start feeling different. And then, but when you start feeling different, it can make you feel isolated if you're not careful about the self-talk. And what I mean by is you have to start telling yourself, I'm doing this for me.
Yes.
I'm doing this so that I can grow, so that I can feel better. Because as long as you're making it about everybody else, then you're not taking care of yourself.
No.
So
Absolutely.
No,
yeah,
not
and
at
I think
all.
that was another place I had to go to, and we're not taught how to do that again, y'all. I'm realizing that we're not even taught how to take care of ourselves, let alone take care of other people. But it's pushed and it's enforced on us to take care of everybody else, though, and that if you're selfish, it's a bad thing, you know. So
Yeah.
So and the way I am is because I tell my wife this. I learned too early the way life is, the way people are. I learned too early. It was forced upon me. I seen it, and I was like, nah, I'm just no. Mm-hmm. I've been called everything but a child of God. I was told I wasn't gonna make it. I was told I wasn't gonna be nothing. You ain't gonna amount to nothing. Everything you hear, that's just. And I say, no, it has to be more to life than just being verbally beat down all the time. It's got to be more than that. Because some people are like, well, at least my mama didn't beat me. Yeah, but she sure did talk down upon you the whole time. That will carry deeper and longer wounds than actually hit me. Because you can duck.
I'll be right back. I got to step out real quick. I'll be right back.
okay, that's fine. But that goes back to Eric. You had to train yourself to self-talk different
Yes.
too, though.
Yes.
Because
And that's
if
what I did.
if you come from an environment where you're beat up all the time, whether it's physically or mentally, that was another thing you come to a realization is that physical and mental abuse, the physical, you'll heal that sore behind will go away. But that mental part, that's where the self-care comes in, because it doesn't matter whether you were beat up at home. If you get on a job, you can get beat up. Anytime you're interacting with other people, your self-talk and how you take care of yourself becomes more important than that environment. Because when you're in any environment outside of yourself, the goal is them and theirs and you and yours. And it took me many years to understand that most people are going to protect them and theirs. You got to take care of you and yours.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
And then also too, like piggybacking off what my husband said, if he didn't choose to do the self-care, how you grow up sometimes that's gonna make you choose the type of people that you're gonna be around and the people that you're gonna allow to continue to stay in your life and to continue to beat you down or use you as an option, or you know what I'm saying. So when you really do self-care, you're gonna realize, because none of us can help our past, as we grew up and we was raised up and stuff like that. A lot of things that we went through, that wasn't by choice, especially whenever we didn't have no say in that. You understand what I'm saying? Like some of the things that I went through personally as a little child and stuff, I didn't have a say in a lot of those things. But I truly had to evaluate that self-care at a younger age in my 20s, maybe, to forgive certain people that harmed me. So that way I won't stay in bondage and I won't stay in prison. You understand what I'm saying? So I can be good for myself and I can be good for other people. And especially when I started having children and stuff like that.
Well, you know what kind of jolted me into realizing the value of self-care? I remember, and I don't know if you guys ever had to get insurance. And when they come and they do that questionnaire for you, they ask you, what's your most valuable asset?
Mm-hmm.
And I started naming, my house, the things that I thought were, assets.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, no, your most valuable asset is you. All of those things can be replaced, but you can't. Yep. So if you don't take care of you, then you're not going to be around to enjoy the house, the car, the people, the things. So he was like, and I'll never forget that, because I'm getting insurance. I'm thinking you talking about assets, things that carry value. And he said, no, your most valuable asset is you. And I took that, and that became my frame of mind, because so many times, like Marcelo says, I put my food in the microwave for people who wouldn't even finish their dinner and come and help me. But I was always putting myself on the back burner for everybody else. And everybody else was more important. Their needs became more important than mine. Satisfying them became more important than satisfying myself. And I don't care what nobody say, Eric, you're right. It takes years to come out of that when when it's been instilled in you that you're a selfish person. And you're not being selfish, you're just protecting yourself.
Yeah.
Well, you're supposed to be selfish. Like I tell people, the ones that listen, you can dodge that right cross. You know what I'm saying? You can duck out of that body punch. You can clench up and take that body punch. You can't dodge them words because you're still here. That's right. Coming from somebody that you look up to, somebody you respect, somebody you might want to be like. Mm-hmm. That's gonna remain with you forever. Yep. So when I heard it, I said enough is enough.
Yep.
You stick to yourself. You don't talk to nobody. You don't hang out with nobody. Yeah, that made me who I am today. Yep. So then I see it for what it is. I know what it is, and because every day is a fight. She can tell you, she can't count on her hand how many times I come in here frustrated. But I'm gonna do it again because I want to look next to her and see that she's good. So I'll go out there and I'll fight the good fight. And in order to fight the good fight, I gotta release these internal demons that I have, and that's what I do. I talk to myself all the time. I've got it to whenever I go in the bathroom, I will stop looking in the mirror, and I will say, "Have you done?" Well, I do that before I go to bed. Have you done everything you can to be a blessing to somebody, or to help somebody, or to make sure they're good? Mm-hmm. Or when I just like go into the bathroom, I'll be like, "Man, you good today. We good." And then that's how I'm able to go out and continue on in spite of
self-talk. Yes. Positive self-talk. Mm-hmm.
And also too, Tisha, me as far as like, because when you become a spouse, whether it be a husband or wife, you become a helpmate. You understand what I'm saying? And not a hindrance. And that's why a lot of times too, that when my husband, he always had his own space in the home. And I allow him to have that space in the home. Not when I say allow, people think that, you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he has a space, a man cave. That's what they call it.
And so what I do is like, and that's where like I said, my husband retired from the military, and he got a whole lot of things that's coming from the military. It's like I know how to, like I said, I have to step back and give him time to self-care, just like he had to give me my time to self-care. And that's why I say it's like even being his helpmate, it's like when I see that he's weak, or I feel like he's frustrated, I always give him the lifted words. And I tell him, I say, no, I say you're not a failure. You know what I'm saying? I say God has a plan for you. You know what I'm saying? And so I always tell him, I was like, you know what? I said, I can't ask for a better partner. You understand what I'm saying? My husband is my friend. I can't ask for a better partner, because it's like, I know that I'm able to make sure I'm good, because I know that's exactly what he wants as well. And so sometimes we have to have our own space. we have to, kind of like talk to ourselves and sometimes answer back. Who came up with that? That you, if you answer back, I'm gonna answer back to myself
because I know the person I'm talking to.
Yeah, you know that.
I don't know you.
How do you overcome it if you don't come up with a solution? And
Exactly.
none of us are alike, so we're not gonna think alike. So
No.
whatever, if I'm praying and saying, "Hey, God, give me to have the Holy Spirit show," however, whatever you believe in, universe or whatever, how you gonna receive that back? You know, because that used to be like everybody used to always encourage you to go have other people to pray for you.
Yeah.
Why aren't you praying for yourself? That's self-care, right?
Yes.
You got to take care of yourself because only you know what you need. But again, we have been conditioned to care about everybody else first. And that's why we have such a mental health crisis, because people don't know how to take care of them, their vessel. So again, if I'm not good, my whole household isn't good.
Yeah.
If
and
my if my husband's not good, right? If I have a husband
coming in, we keep on talking. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
And that's where the feel guilty is coming in because, like you said, we were. So I was the only girl out of four boys. My mother and I thank God for her. I couldn't ask for a better mom, right? But I didn't understand it at the time. And my mom, I'm not even gonna say pressure, but she aligned me to be able to do the things that I was supposed to do once I left her house to go out here in this world, right? And so I think at some point it made me like, okay, you got to make sure that everybody's okay because your mom made sure that you knew how to do everything. You see what I'm saying? And so that is so true. It's like we sit here and we even with our families, the people that's close to us, we stay too long in certain situations that we need to back out of because we were made to feel like that's what we have to do. Yeah. And we feel so bad about, like when we know that these people are not for us, we still try to make an excuse to why we need to stay. No, we have to no. And that's why, like I said, now before you came on, I was talking about me breaking my leg, and I said, that ain't something that I wanted to go through, but I thank God for that experience because it gave me time to reflect. Even talking about our mental health state, it's like at times I broke down because I'm like, wow, I have to sit here and I have to depend on my husband for everything. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so I had to be like, wait, hold up, Marcella. It's like, you know what? You deserve that because all the times that you waited on him or waited on other people, but I had to get to that point, And so now it's like, it made me realize now, Tisha, that from now on, I'm going to make sure I'm okay. And when I say no, it's a complete sentence. That's what I don't have to explain why I said that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I have to take care of me because, like I told my husband, in order for me to be able to be here for you and Savion and take care and love you, I have to start with the person that's in the mirror, So I'm definitely doing self-care. I mean, I asked my husband, "Where's my spot at, babe?"
In your closet.
In my closet. That's my peace closet, my prayer closet, my everything closet. When I go up in there, it's all about Marcella. You know what I'm saying? It's all about me.
So I got something else for you. Self-care equals positive affirmation. Mm-hmm. Not just to other people. See, it's easy to give positive affirmation to somebody else, mm-hmm. but it's harder to do it for yourself because mm-hmm. who's your own worst enemy? Who's your worst enemy? You are.
Yeah.
You are to yourself. Positive affirmation, saying either write them down on sticky notes, or every time you walk by a mirror, you are worthy. You are good enough. Mm-hmm. You are somebody. And don't let them, cause I ain't gonna call them names, but you're nothing. Well, if I'm nothing, how can I sit here and talk to you right now? If I was nothing in that moment, I wouldn't be here, right? Right. I mean, okay, so what did you mean? I said, before you talk to somebody, make sure you think intelligently before you open your mouth, because you can be the most beautiful person in the world till you open your mouth. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying.
Well, and then those positive affirmations should also lead you to gratitude. And so the thing that, when Marcella, when you were just talking about your leg and you have the husband that's willing to take care of you, gratitude kicks in because you become grateful that you have that kind of husband. Because some people have a husband on paper or a wife on paper, but they don't have somebody who's gonna take care of them when they're down and out. That person gonna
Yes.
get gone. Oh, she can't move now. She can't go chase behind me. She can't see what I'm doing. I'm getting in these streets,
Yeah.
you know, because you stuck in the house and that person gone them more than they home.
Yes.
That's something to tap into gratitude for and be
Oh,
like,
yes.
thank you, Lord, that I have that husband or that wife that if I'm down, because those are the true tests: death, injury, sickness.
Mhm.
And
That
it's
tells
true.
you what kind of quality person you have right there in your life.
Well, blood surgery.
Because
That's so
it
true.
don't get no
Yes.
worse than those. That's and that's that to death do us part, sickness and health.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of people skip or overlook those things because in order for me to know how to take care of somebody else,
Yeah.
how I treat and take care of somebody else is a reflection of how I take care of
Yes.
myself too.
Mhm.
That's so
And
true.
so I
That's
had
so
to
true.
understand too, while I'm pouring all this into everybody else,
Yep.
who's pouring into me? And so you got to be careful too, because you can get on the other side of it and be in a great, wonderful health space and healthy. And you can invite the wrong jokers into that space, and it just like that is gone.
That's so true.
It's gone. Like Eric told me
Yeah.
today, if a root is dead, ain't nothing you can do. That root is not going to grow. It's not going to prosper. It's not going to manifest into anything.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
So again, what are we holding on to when we get to the place where we're getting to the healthy mindset? Again, if you're holding on to those unhealthy people and having less gratitude for the people in your life that are healthy for you, then you got to be mindful of that too. That's an issue. And I notice a lot of people too, they want to feel needed. And that'll keep them in bad situations too, because here's the thing: the more you take care of you, the less you need other people.
Yeah.
So when people need you all the time, that means they're not self-caring.
No. And also self-care also to me it means my self-care is based on the quality and not the quantity.
Quantity.
You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of times people look at quantity based on how many years we've been together or how many years we've been friends or how many years I've known you, and you're not looking at the quality that comes with that character. You understand what I'm saying? So we feel like we need to hold on based on the quantity. Well, I've been knowing you for 20 years plus, so doesn't matter no more. That's why I'm there now. I'm there now.
And I'm
like,
learning with my own self. You can meet somebody today that'll treat you better than somebody you done been with for years. And like you said, we hold on to the quantity over the quality of the person, which goes back to the lesson that you mentioned we learned, which was what your personality and your character is. And that's why they have to be separated. Because if you keep combining those two things, you're going to constantly find yourself attracted to people who don't mean no good to you.
That's so true.
Yeah.
And so,
and and another thing too, and that goes for all three of us, that's where self-care comes in at. It's not about your attachment, it's about your self-care. And don't allow someone to do something or be in your space that you're not going to do to yourself, especially when we start to grow more and have more wisdom, because the more me and you talk, we understanding something totally different every day. And you're like, wow, that's why. You know what I'm saying?
But it's stuff that this is the thing that we got to realize though. You used to hear the old people say it's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
Really, it isn't. It's just that your lens has changed. And I stopped saying why these people change. No, I'm changing.
Yes.
I'm being the change that I want to see in other people. It's like saying I'm sorry without a changed behavior. Well, if I say I'm healed, or if I'm self-caring and I'm in a better mental state, then there's going to be changes in me that's going to domino or affect the things around me because I'm changing.
Yep.
And I'm tired of beating myself up for changing. I was doing like, well, I'm just pushing everybody away. Eric said something a few minutes ago. That let go game got to be just as strong as that attachment game. The same way you able to attach to people, you got to be able to let people go just the same.
That is
and that's the part that we fail at, the letting go.
The letting go.
It's easy for us to attach, but it's hard for us to let go. Because two things. The first thing, natural progression. I speak this all the time. If it ain't naturally progressing, you got to reevaluate it. You got to reevaluate. And the second thing is, I'm pissing people off when I say it, but I'm gonna say it. You cannot invest your all into someone else. It's impossible. Think about it. You said I'm investing my all into that person. That's your all. That's not them. That's yours. So you can't invest your all into somebody and not invest nothing in yourself. It's gonna fail. And see, while you investing everything in that person, what are they in turn investing in you?
You.
That's why this works, because we make sure we're good, and then all the abundance that we have, we give it into the other person, and it makes an investment and it makes a return.
And the reason that is because I got a saying in our household, and I tell this to everybody too. I said, what you don't invest in, you will not value. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if y'all stuck like glue. If only one person is investing, they're not gonna value because they're not investing as well. So if you don't invest,
what's the sports saying? What's the sports saying? If you ain't got no skin in the game, or put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
All that goes hand in hand, because that's another thing that you run into when, as a fitness and nutrition coach, people want you to help them for nothing. They want to pay you a little or nothing, but they want the results. It costs. You paying for my time.
Yeah.
You taking away from my mental self-care for me to help you. That's the other thing. I love when Mario goes live and he have different people on during the days about their profession and things of that such, and what it costs to have a wedding, and bring on the different aspects of it, because we do not value people's time. We do not value people's time at all.
No, we don't. We don't.
And we don't. Understanding that person's time is a part of their mental health and their self-care. So if all I'm doing is doing what I'm doing for you, and I'm constantly cutting a discount, where am I getting what I need to take care of me for my self-care?
I'm sorry. The thing of it is, a person that's trying to undercut your business model is maybe a person you should want to do business with, because the reason why they undercut you is they're already in that slump. They just want somebody to blame. So even though you charge $200, you charge them $50, don't go to her. Don't go to Tisha, man. She ain't gonna help you at all. When the whole time, and before this person come to you, they gotta be mentally ready. They gotta do the self-care and say, I am ready to go forward with it. Because if you are ready to go forward with it, it don't matter what it costs, because we'll spend $55 at some reused, recycled, put on the heat lamp food, but we won't spend $5 on a bottle of liquor that's got all the nutrients that you got. They've embedded that into our heads in society, and we fall for it every time. That's why all this stuff, the unhealthy stuff, is at the cash register on your way to it. You're going through amazing, all you see is stuff you shouldn't have. So that's the reason why they do that. Anybody that asks you for a discount is not good, is not happy with themselves, because they should understand that this is a business. And if I don't like your prices, I go to someone else.
But that self-care for you as a business owner or someone who's working in that capacity as an entrepreneur, that is still, you have to have your time for self-care too. Yes. And people have to respect the fact that when you're taking up my time, you're intruding on my mental health time, my physical health time. And what I'm sowing into you is I'm pouring it out of myself. So again, people want to put value on tangible things, but not themselves. I've seen people be willing to go pay $200, $300, $400 for a purse, but you don't want to pay the upfront fee for you, the registration fee for you to register for a health and nutrition.
Excuse me.
You know what I mean? So we don't know how to understand that healthcare is also the biggest part. Mental health and self-care is where you put your money at too. Look.
And on the flip side, on the opposite side of self-care, you need to understand that as a businesswoman or a businessman, part of your self-care is that you sat down, you looked at the prices, the average price of everybody else, and you came with a comfortable, fair price, right? So part of your self-care is not accepting less than what you were, because that's taken from you. That's
Bingo.
taken from your family. This, that, and that. I'm not doing that, no, because if a person is asking you right off the bat for a discount, that's a problem right there. That's a problem right off the bat.
But how many people don't connect the dots to those simple 1, 2, 3 things being a part of self-care? They would say that that's different. No, that's something different. Just because I don't want to pay your registration fee don't mean that I don't care about myself. The fact that I'm calling you say that I care. No, put your money where your mouth is.
That's right.
Because like Marcella just said, if there's no skin in the game, more than likely you're not going to be committed to it.
Nope.
That's exactly. In any of the ships, any self-care thing that you're doing, because nothing self-care is free other than you going outside and walking. Once you get somebody else involved or in anything that you do, you got to consider that person too. And that's how I look at life now. Yeah. Even getting on here, you know, for this podcast, I have to consider everybody else's time when, you know, I'm running late or whatever the case may be, because we're getting on here together, even though it's a common courtesy. We've lost that. We've lost caring about ourselves enough to care about other people and respect other people. Because when you can always tell when somebody loves themselves or care for themselves, because how they care about you is, like Eric said, it's going to flow naturally.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to have a bunch of conflict and chaos and drama. Look.
No.
Yep. Mario, what's your take? You quiet tonight. Look.
Well, I had so much stuff going on today. I'm like, ooh. But I just like, my thing is just self-care, just being realistic, being honest with yourself, and staying focused. I know that's the biggest problem with a lot of people, is that it's kind of like they're not being honest with themselves. That's the number one problem. They're not being honest with themselves. Mm-hmm. They're living outside their means. And they're not taking their mental health like seriously. And so those are like the three main things that I can say about self-care is, if you're not doing, you got to be real with yourself. You got to be honest with yourself, and you got to make sure you understand your boundaries of your mental and your physical being. But
you have to make some hard decisions too, tough decisions that's going to benefit you, not other people, for you.
Right.
But sometimes when it's letting people go, even with that quantity comes in, because now you're saying that it really never was quality. That's self-care as well.
Well, we're gonna go ahead and do our final words. I kind of have to get off here.
I know. Okay.
So I'm gonna go around the table. Tisha, what's your final words on this self-care?
Be aware of your surroundings, so that you don't fall back into bad behavior that was taught, and that you can protect the work that you've done for your self-care and your mental health.
Okay. Marcella?
If things don't align in with your life, then it's not part of your self-care, then it's time to keep it moving.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Eric?
Put yourself first. You put yourself first, everything else will fall into place. If you don't remember nothing else I said, natural progression. If it ain't naturally progressing, then that's not the relationship, the business partnership, whatever, all the ships, like Tisha said, all the ships. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. You have to put yourself first. And putting yourself first means making sure I'm good, so I can ensure, so I can make sure that you're good. I have to ensure that I'm good to make sure that you're good. And if you can't follow that, then that means you gotta do a self-test.
All right, Mario, you got anything last to say before you go?
Last thing I got to say, like I said, be honest with yourself. I know your boundaries, and stay focused. That's the biggest thing. But
okay.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, I hope y'all enjoyed this show. I know this one was kind of short. We kind of started a little bit late, but we got through it kind of quickly.
Okay.
But like I said, please tune in next Tuesday, same time. I know we haven't talked about the topic, but we'll get to the details, and we're looking forward to seeing everybody next week.
All right. Good night.
Good night, everybody.